Hello everyone. So with the release of Shrouded Fable is also coming the Pokemon World Championships. And the World Championships is going to be the first international tournament that Shrouded Fable is in fact legal for. This presents an interesting opportunity because Shrouded Fable is seriously going to shake up the metagame and the way that the Big Six works. Most notably, Charizard EX being shot back to the top of the metagame with the introduction of Dusknoir, and how Dusknoir is also going to affect decks like Turbo Box, for example, with the Lost City combo. And out of the Big Six, it's very hard to try and metagame all those. It's a variety of different weaknesses and different typing matchups. However, I do think there are a few cards releasing in Shrouded Fable that are being overlooked, perhaps, and a deck which I think has serious underdog potential to upset the meta, and that is United Wings. With the release of Shrouded Fable, United Wings is getting some very, very key cards that it was missing. These, most importantly, are going to be Dartrix, Kyurem, and fezipidenpity EX. Dartrix is the most obvious and probably the biggest game changer for United Wings. It being a grass type fills a huge niche that the deck had, where the Charizard matchup was a struggle. Now having a grass type United Wings attacker, even if it is a stage 1, is absolutely huge. You can now hit weakness on Charizard EX. The weakness game for United Wings is a huge, huge opportunity. With all of them being single prizers, being able to one-shot multi-prize Pokemon, like Watrel being able to one-shot Lugia, or Murkrow being able to one-shot Gardevoir, having another answer to one of the big three is absolutely massive. The other big card, fezipidenpity EX, is a draw engine that United Wings has really been missing. Its ability to take advantage reads, once during your turn, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. That is such a huge engine for this deck. During the testing that I did with the deck list I'm going to show later in the video, fezipidenpity EX can draw you up to 21 cards in a game, which you're already turboing through this deck, and drawing an extra 21 cards off of a single inclusion is massive. You can dig for absolutely anything. The final piece is this brand new Kyurem coming out in Shrouded Fable. Its attack, Trifrost, reads, discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 110 damage to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. That's already massive damage, but it has a huge attack cost with it. Except for its ability, Anti-Plasma, where if your opponent has any card in their discard pile with Chorus in its name, Trifrost can be used for a single colorless energy. Finally, the Lost Box counter that United Wings needs. Previously, when I played this deck back during the Paldea Evolve format, before Obsidian Flames came out, the Lost Box counter that you were running was Klefki from Scarlet and Violet base, just to shut down abilities, but that only kept them out of the game for so long. Kyurem, you can take out Comfey, you can take out Cramorant, you can take out Sableye. It is built as the Lost Box killer, and I think a lot of decks are going to be running it as a tech, especially the existing Dragon decks like Regidrago V-Star. The only other card from Shrouded Fable that this deck is running is Night Stretcher. Just a single copy of it, put a basic energy or a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. I think it does have a place in the deck. Super Rod is better for recovering resources, but I think Night Stretcher definitely has a little more versatility. So now looking at this deck list here, let's talk about how to combo and how to play this, because this deck is all about speed. In order to beat your bad matchups, which out of the Big Six is going to be Raging Bolt, and especially Regidrago and Dragapult EX, because all those dragon types do not have weaknesses, you're going to need to turbo. Now, the key to this deck is to get a turn 1 discard combo as hard as you possibly can. And the cards that requires is the Famigo, Squakabilly, and Carmine on your first turn. It's all going to be about getting that squakabilly on your bench as fast as you can, getting down a flamingo and using its insta-flock ability to draw the other 3, discarding your hand with Carmine, and then immediately hitting a Squawk and Seize to discard your hand again. If you can find a pokestop as well, you can roll that. Pokestop, we run 4 copies of it. Despite the low item count, it's mostly to target Pokemon into the discard pile. If you are able to get that combo off, you will fly through almost 20 cards, if not more, within your first turn, and immediately swinging for 100, 160 with United Wings, which on your first turn is going to KO those small, basic, and stage 1 Pokemon that those setup decks really need, like your Curlias, your Dreepies, your Charmanders, your Pidgeys, all that kind of stuff. With this deck list, I found super consistent. Out of all the testing I've did, it did extremely well versus Gardevoir, Lugia, Lost Box, and Charizard. It's very, very consistent despite very high Pokemon count. Squakabilly and fezipidenpity especially really help with that consistency and that draw for turn. The Legacy Energy as well is an absolute need of an occlusion. It turns the match from a 6 prize game into a 7, essentially, which is absolutely massive, especially considering you are usually with the weakness advantages going up in the prize trade. The only cards I would change out with this is I'm not very sure about the inclusion of Roxanne. It's a very uncommon occurrence for the deck to go down in the prize trade, especially considering the only double prize targets in this are Squakabilly and fezipidenpity, and we do have cards to help with that. The deck is running a single copy of Professor Turo's Scenario to get them up off the bench and make them not targets anymore, especially Squakabilly. So I'm not very sure about the inclusion of Roxanne. I didn't use it that much, but 2 or 3 times I did use it. It was extremely helpful. The other card that I'm not so sure about is Kieran. It definitely has its uses. I think they're niche, but I did find using him a couple of times. The EX ability is not really needed unless you're attacking with Ditto, but the ability to have that on top of a switch card is very useful. You could run an item switch just so you can target that with the Pokestops, but I do think Kieran does have a place in the deck. Other thing is the Enhanced Hammer. A lot of decks have been taking it out, but I think it's an absolute need. Running into a Neo Upper Energy, which a lot of Dragapult and Charizard decks have been running, or running up against a Mirrored Legacy Energy, that Enhanced Hammer makes all the difference. You are depriving Lugia off of their 1 prize Iron Hands, you're depriving Charizard or Dragapult of an initial setup. So despite the fact that a lot of people are taking it out of decks, I think it's worthy of being in here just by the disruption that it can cause. This, I think, has the chance to maybe not dominate, but certainly make a huge impact on the World Championships and the Shrouded Fable format. Probably even into Stellar Crown. There doesn't seem like there's been a lot of cards that could really mess with this. I know there's different builds going around. If you want to tweak this list to serve your needs, feel free. I think you might be able to cut a Ditto for more consistency, but I think this is as perfect as a deck list can get. So thank you all for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your next couple Pokemon games, and I hope you all have a great day.